Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live right here at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. We're going to do our recap of NXT in just a few moments. Before we get started, if you're watching us on the YouTube, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way towards helping grow Going in Raw. And of course, if you're listening to my voice in the audio realm, if you're listening to us as a podcast, that's awesome. Do us a huge favor if you can leave us a rating, review, or a comment. That helps a lot too. Quick note as well. Tomorrow we'll be filming Numbers Don't Lie CM Punk, where we will take our mathematical Going in Raw math formula and apply it to Mr. Phil Brooks. Larson, have you looked at the survey yet? Anything surprising so far?
The one thing that's surprising, no, in terms of the actual scores themselves, there is one particular category where one score is so dominant. It's just something we've never seen before.
Interesting.
We'll get into it when we do the show tomorrow, but there's one category where it's not even overwhelmingly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's almost unanimous.
Yeah.
In terms of the score, that it really shocked. Really shocked.
Right. I can guess, take a wild guess at what that is. Anyways, you can watch that. You can vote on the numbers for CM Punk at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. We're coming down to the end of the month as well. So if you're a $20 patron, you get access to the Friendo Care Package, which is, of course, the comic book, a bunch of stickers. That's right. We have a Steve and Larson comic book. It's around here somewhere. I'm looking around. It's over there. I'm not going to reach for it. But take my word for it. It's really great. I drew it.
It's got a story that can only be told in the pages of a comic book.
That is correct. So it's wild fun. But then at $5 a month, number one, that's a huge way of supporting Going in Raw. Number two, you get all that bonus content. Numbers Don't Lie. You get the Power Ranks on the Tuesdays. And then, of course, GTA on Fridays. That's a lot of fun, too. So, yeah, with all that being said, NXT sort of seemingly officially started their transitionary phase into whatever it's going to be. It's sort of gone from, oh, wow, this is my stuff, to just, this is interesting to watch from the standpoint of things are changing and there's always weird stuff in between phases. Whenever you see stuff like this, it's like, oh, you got this weird motley crew up at the top of the card, all sorts of different players. Because you got Samoa Joe there, who is a hell of a champion, obviously. He's great, but he's obviously going to be transitionary for whatever it is they got coming next. So I found NXT this week to be, it was entertaining enough, but it's also just kind of interesting to watch it from the standpoint of the times they are a-changing.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if in the weeks going forward, if we're going to see what seemed to be the indication last night, which was we're going to get a series of feuds, which is going to see, I won't say a rookie, but an up-and-coming talent. Someone relatively new to NXT television, feuding against a veteran. I know Ridge Holland's been on NXT television a little bit. He was on a bit before he got injured. He's come back, had a couple matches. He's in this feud with Ciampa and Thatcher. And I don't know, I kind of feel like that's going to be the template for a while until I kind of sort out what they want this new NXT to be. And then from there, they'll focus on, I would assume, the newer talent. And, I don't know what, as far as the veterans like Ciampa, Gargano, so on, where they're going to land. Who knows? But that title segment tonight, there's like, okay, 4 or 5 people that came out. One of those people had like an actual right to be in that ring, and that was Peter Duke.
And I'll be honest with you. I know you say that out of your love for Pete Dunne.
Yeah, that's predominantly what it is. It's not like they've done anything really to book him. He's taken a back seat to Ridge Holland for the most part. I understand that, and I'm sure what's going to happen is they'll eventually get to Pete Dunne versus Joe, and they'll use that to make their way to Joe versus Ridge Holland.
Which, given what we saw last night in the Ridge Holland versus Timothy Thatcher match, is kind of just carrying Cross 2.0, in my opinion. I'm sure Ridge Holland puts in a lot of work. Maybe he's great. I don't know. But like sometimes last night during his match with Thatcher, it just looked like the dude was trying to keep up and getting lost at certain points because Thatcher's a terrific.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
honestly,
wrestler, yes.
if they gave the book to old Steve here and they're like, hey, who do you want to be? Who should Samoa Joe really be taking on in the title scene for an extended period of time while we sort out who's going to be sort of like the young person to take it'd be Thatcher. Like, you have Joe hold that title till like for like maybe 2 takeovers and then you get Thatcher in there. Thatcher's a killer wrestler, right? And then you can transition like a Holland or something. But like Holland just ain't, I mean, he's wrestling on 2 legs that were basically just blown up, like destroyed. And maybe that's it. But he looked lost in there at moments with Thatcher. Like, and I was like, am I tripping? Am I reading this right? And then I sent you a text and you're like, yeah, this isn't a terribly good match. And so that sort of is kind of the fear, isn't it? Like, we're going to get guys in there at the top of the card in main events that wrestling wise are not going to be the most compelling characters.
I will counter with this. So last week we talked about the Breakout Stars tournament final that happened last night. It's a bit of a referendum on the future of NXT. We thought, okay, if Odyssey Jones wins, they're going all in on the heavyweight homegrown talent in NXT. If Carmelo Hayes wins, well, then maybe they're not going all in on that aspect. They'll go for guys who aren't 6'4", 240 plus pounds, guys that do have some indie wrestling experience. And we saw Carmelo Hayes pick up the win last night. So it seems obvious they're not going like all in on signing talent who may not have a whole lot of pro wrestling experience, though they might be highly athletic. We're going to see still some people from the independents come in and get pushes, and maybe to balance out the fact that there can be a lot of wrestlers, like Ridge Holland, who might be a little green in terms of the finer aspects of pro wrestling. You got to have some really good workers in there to help them along if you still want to put on takeover level matches at takeovers.
I mean, even the question of what takeovers are going to look like, in terms of the way they approach them from a wrestling standpoint, is up in the air. Just given, who it seems like they want to get behind. I don't know. There was a report today on Fightful Select, and please go subscribe to Fightful Select because you get all this news straight to your email. Sean Ross Sapp does great work over there. About Pete Dunne's contract status, how they have not, they don't know if he's actually an extension has been offered. No word on whether or not he's going to sign it or if he has or whatever. So obviously we don't know what Pete Dunne's gonna do, but I don't see him taking that title off Samoa Joe, and it seems like he's the obvious choice, the next in line to take on Samoa Joe. I mean, we're just coming off a takeover. Has there been another one? I mean, you can assume the next one's going to be around Survivor Series, right?
You'd think so, yeah.
And so I think that's kind of probably too far away. They're probably going to try to do this at, I don't know, probably in a main event of NXT TV, I would assume.
Well, I mean, assuming Pete Dunne sticks around, they could do the story where, he's the one that really wants to step up to Joe, but for whatever reason, other things get in the way. It doesn't happen for a while. It is consistently Pete Dunne. Hey, you know what happened? You step in the ring with me, Joe. Something interferes, Either Pete Dunne gets taken away or some other feud comes along that takes Joe's attention away from Pete Dunne. So they actually take their time and build up to it. I mean, that's entirely possible. So maybe either October or even the takeover after that, like Rumble weekend. If Dunne sticks around, they build up to it. I mean, it doesn't seem that's to be the case because, as I mentioned, it feels like Pete Dunne's kind of taken a bit of a backseat to Ridge Holland in the overall kind of long view of NXT.
I would suspect, I'll be honest with you, I suspect the next time we see NXT live, that's going to be the Dunne Joe match. Because they're going to try to make a big deal out of the rebrand. I mean, so there's two things going on, and we've said this before, but for people who might be new or whatever, there's basically two things happening with NXT. Number one, Nick Khan, the president of WWE, has confirmed that over the next couple of weeks, or sometime in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a production visual aesthetic rebrand of NXT. Probably going to get a new logo. They're going to make it brighter, probably add some colors to it because right now it's just sort of like gold and black, and that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty bland.
So we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but the way he spoke, it seemed like it's going to be a pretty dramatic change in presentation, which is going to be happening probably at the tail end of these 3 weeks of tapings.
Yes.
And I suspect that, they say all comedies end with weddings, and I assume that the September 14th wedding of Index might be sort of NXT's finale the way it's presented now, and then maybe the next week we'd get the kickoff of whatever the new NXT is going to be.
So this week was taped?
Correct.
Next week's is taped. That would be the 31st of August, and the following week's it's taped, so the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one live back will be the 14th.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's going to be the wedding then. Well, that is going to be the wedding. But I wonder if the wedding is going to correspond with the rebrand. Who knows?
Yeah. If the idea of taping these 3 weeks is to get the CWC ready for the revamped look of the show, and then the 14th would be the first episode live with the new look of the show, and then have the wedding on there. Yeah.
So that's one thing that's happening. We know is happening. The other thing is just seems to be the sort of philosophical change in how they're bringing in new talent. And so you're going to maybe see guys up at the top of the card, that don't look like Kyle O'Reilly, Johnny Gargano, Roderick Strong. Those guys, I feel like they're probably going to be like, just to throw us, NXT fans of current day or the past couple of years, throw them a bone. They're going to be the cruiserweight division. So they'll just have like one of the most stacked cruiserweights divisions and try to elevate that title. And then you're going to see big dudes like Duke Hudson, Odyssey Jones, Ridge Holland, all vying for Samoa Joe's NXT title. That's just sort of what I figure. Maybe, hell, I don't know. Maybe Kyle O'Reilly and guys like that, they'll land. Maybe the good wrestlers will be featured in the North American title scene. You got Swerve right there. They obviously think very highly of Hit Row. They were very heavily featured. That feud isn't ending, given that who was it in our live chat, who would consistently say, when is Legado going to add a woman to counter BFAB?
Yeah, I don't remember.
They're probably here right now, but whoever that was, stand up and we'll acknowledge you. We'll acknowledge you. Because that's exactly what they did last night in the main event, Hit Row versus Legado del Fantasma.
Dang MQ is taking credit for that.
Dang MQ, that's all you. Well done. Elektra Lopez was the addition to Legado del Fantasma. I think that last night's match and outcome did kick things up a little bit, given where their feud had sort of been up until that moment. I'd like some more twists and turns that are a bit heavier, and then they can move on. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of some interesting things fall in place. It is funny though when you mention that sort of the title scene right now, given where it was like 12 months ago, even 6 months ago. It is just weird because LA Knight's graduated up to the title scene. Kyle O'Reilly's there. Pete Dunne's there. It's a really weird bunch.
It really is.
Of guys.
Really is. And seemingly instantaneously, like they're all sidetracked by something else. Like we got LA Knight versus Gargano next week. We got Kyle O'Reilly versus Duke Hudson. Yeah. Pete Dunne's still kind of wrapped up in this Tommaso Ciampa, Ridge Holland stuff. So, as soon as everybody seemingly steps up to Joe, they're just pulled away by something else, it seems.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where this all lands. Like I said, I'm always, it's the same reason why I always enjoyed going back and watching like the first days of NXT as a promotion, not the game show stuff, but like, when you had like, Damian Sandow, Xavier Woods. Yeah. When you had that first batch of guys, like Richie Steamboat, like guys that just, you have like, who is it? Corey Graves was like a wrestler back then. You're like, who are these guys? Whatever happened to them? And so it is, to me, it's just interesting to see how they're going to approach this. But because, the NXT of yesterday is gone at this point. And so it's kind of interesting to see the awkward transition to whatever is next for NXT. All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word in from our sponsor, Liquid Death. So Larson, the calendar may say that we're nearing the end of summer, but the thermometer is telling me that it's still hot.
Oh, it's hot.
But when I feel the heat coming on, I reach for this awesome-looking tall boy can of Liquid Death.
And you may ask, hey, is there beer in this can? Because it certainly looks like this is a can of beer here in my hand. But I got to tell you, the answer is no. Inside this can is 16.9 ounces of mountain water that'll brutally murder your thirst, hence the name right here on the can. And not only does this can look cool, what makes it even cooler is that aluminum cans are infinitely recyclable, unlike plastic bottles, which mostly end up in a landfill. See here, Steve, plastic bottles, they're money losers for recycling centers, but aluminum cans actually make them a profit.
Also, Liquid Death donates 10% of their profits from every can sold to help bring death upon plastic pollution. So if you want to trick people into thinking you're drinking a beer when you're actually destroying your thirst with refreshing mountain water in an ice-cold can, go to liquiddeath.com/GIR and get free shipping on all water and merch. That's liquiddeath.com/GIR.
Or grab some at your neighborhood Whole Foods or 7-Eleven. Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Craig. You know, Steve, I feel like I've said this before, but it's worth repeating. I feel like I need to take up a new hobby. I want to make stuff out of wood with these hands of mine. I just don't know where to start.
So Larson wants to get into woodworking, eh?
Yeah.
Well, I was once like you, feeling the urge to craft something with these hands of mine, but unsure if I could do so. But then I got these hands on a Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro. Craig has been the innovator and leader in pocket hole joinery, setting the standard for 30 plus years. And now, if I got my Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro and a drill, I feel like I can build nearly anything from bookcases to desks to outdoor patio furniture.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes.
You're joking me, right?
No.
Oh, really? I'm impressed. Tell me more. Tell me more, please.
Sure. See, pocket hole joinery is a way of creating fast, simple, and strong joints in a variety of wood projects. And the Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro makes it easier than ever. You know me, I've never been terribly handy, and the thought of building something out of wood with these hands of mine seemed like a pipe dream. But after going to craigtool.com, that's K-R-E-G tool.com, and getting my hands on a Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro, I can build pocket hole projects anytime, anywhere.
Wow. I am impressed, Steve. I am really impressed. I have a question for you, though.
Yes.
Can you build me a bookcase to go right here? I need something to go on this wall. A bookcase would be great. Can you build one for me?
No, because you can do it yourself. Oh. Now anyone, even Larson, can easily create perfect and strong pocket hole joints with the Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro. It works with a wide variety and size of material and is great for building all types of indoor and outdoor wood projects.
The Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro comes with everything you need and retails for just $99.99. It's available nationwide at Home Depot, Lowe's, and other home centers, woodworking, and hardware stores. Learn more at craigtool.com. That's K-R-E-G tool.com.
Again, that's craigtool.com. K-R-E-G tool.com. We can just dive into it.
Sure.
Cameron Grimes and DiBiase pull up in the $1 million limo. DiBiase and Grimes both hit the ring. He says, when I first showed up here, everyone wanted to know why the $1 million man was here. And they all realized I was here looking for the person who could carry my legacy on, and whomever it was would have to be strong physically, mentally, and most importantly, strong of heart. Winners never quit, and through every step, Cameron, you've never quit. You are the real $1 million champion. And Grimes says, Ted, when you showed up, you drove me nuts. But I'm glad you tested me, because when I got all that money, I thought I was a big deal, but I looked in the mirror and I didn't have the accomplishment to back it up. And as I did all that dirty work as LA Knight's butler, I knew I couldn't let the same happen to you. So at TakeOver, I became the $1 million champion. But as I stand here, I have a question. Where does Grimes go now? DiBiase says, that's easy, Cameron. We go to the moon. And then a bunch of Cameron Grimes $100 bills come. They're all fake money, I assume.
Yeah, they had his face on them. Yeah, it's not legal tender if it's got Cameron Grimes' face on it.
I haven't seen a $100 bill in a little while, but I assume they did not replace Benjamin Franklin with.
You'd be correct. Cameron Grimes, no.
Okada. Didn't know.
Maybe Okada. Maybe Okada dollars at this juncture are legal tender, but
can we confirm that?
Grimes dollars, no.
A couple of those.
Yeah. The first match of the night was Ridge Holland versus Timothy Thatcher. The back and forth of this is as you would expect. Thatcher trying to use his technical prowess, Ridge trying to overpower. Eventually, Thatcher focuses on Ridge's legs. I think he puts him in like an ankle lock. Ridge boots him off, hits a headbutt, hits his finish to get the win. Ciampa then hits the ring. He takes it to Ridge and Peter Dune, who's out there. And then Oni, Lorcan, and Danny Burch, they pulled Ciampa out of the ring. Danny Burch is back.
The returning Danny Burch.
Yeah, so they beat him up a little bit, put him back in the ring, and Ridge headbutts him. And he goes, Ridge does, and puts his hat on. Thatcher pulls him out of the ring. And at first, Thatcher's able to fight off Peter Dune, Ridge Holland. Eventually, though, Ridge Holland just clocks him right in the throat. And he wants more, but Pete Dunne's like, whoa, that's enough.
Mm-hmm. After that, we have a Carmelo Hayes sit-down interview in advance of the finale to the finals for the breakout tournament. Standard stuff here. I mean, it's still pretty babyface stuff. Both these guys were pretty much baby faces here. He says, tonight's a big night for me. I've been in there with Cole, Kushida, and then also dudes twice my size. He's asked, why do you want to compete against the best? He says, because I don't see myself as an underdog. I'm an overdog. He says, I'm great. I work hard. That's basically the gist of it.
Yeah, virtually. Yeah. We got an Index interview. They're asked how they feel. Indy says, feels incredible. Being in love is amazing. Being engaged is even better. They've done everything together. She mentions bike riding, building sandcastles, making out in a hot air balloon, eating chicken fingers. And then Mackenzie says, it seems like you're really hitting it off. When's the wedding? And Loomis holds up an invitation. Looks like he illustrated himself. Mm-hmm. Wedding, September 14th.
Yes. And then they kiss. After that, we had Kacy Catanzaro and Kayden Carter.
TikTok tag team.
Yeah. I didn't even want to bring that up. But yeah, they had like, are they the TikTok tag team? Because they do a lot of stuff on TikTok. Can we be the Twitter tag team, Larson?
Isn't Twitter kind of passe though?
Is it now? What's next? What's after TikTok? What's like cool now?
I don't know what the post TikTok world is going to look like, Steve. Can
we just be MySpace?
Way past that.
Remember MySpace? That was cool. They had like little music players that would jam up your shit. You go to somebody's page, it would just like not work.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I hate when they do stuff like this. They're a fun tag team though. You think it's weird for Kayden Carter, who used to be called, wasn't her name Lacey Lane?
Yeah.
Now she's got to fight somebody named Jayne. Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
it's got to be weird. So Kacy,
I didn't think about that, but that's a good point.
Kacy Catanzaro, Kayden Carter get in there with Dolan and Jayne. So it's Jayne versus Lacey Lane. Oh, yeah. The Face-App tag team. Thank you, Nick Kyle. Of course. Of course.
There we go.
Oh man. So yeah, this is kind of a short match. Kacy and Kayden get over with their finish. They win this match.
Yeah, so. They do win this match. And then next we got a Raquel Gonzalez interview. She says, leading up to TakeOver, I meant everything I said. Dakota Kai is tough as nails. Says I almost power bombed her through the mat. But if she knows Dakota, she knows this isn't over. So she's asked about Kaylee Ray. And Raquel says that she's been waiting for her to make the trip to NXT. And she'll tell her it makes no difference who steps up. You can either be the back of the line, you can cut in the line, be in front of the line. Doesn't matter. And who steps up? Frankie Monet. She says, I don't have to wait in line. He says, I'm not worried about, or you shouldn't be worried, Raquel, about Kai kicking you in the face or Kaylee Ray taking your spotlight. She says, I'm there to take your shine and your championship in the process.
I did notice as well that Raquel has a name for her finish.
Yeah.
It's the Chingona Bomb. Which Chingona means a badass woman, apparently. Maybe Maggie can clarify that, but I looked it up. I was like, did you say Chingona? Which sounds like, if I'm not mistaken, it sounds really close to another Spanish word that I don't think I'm allowed to say on here. So, yeah, okay. So, yeah, Maggie confirmed. Thank you, Maggie. Appreciate it. So, yeah, anyways, that's kind of cool. Chingona Bomb. After that, we had Kaylee Ray video vignette, and then an Odyssey Jones interview, which is just, I didn't even write notes on this one. I just said the standard babyface stuff. He's very humble. There's really nothing else going on there. These guys are just blank slates, man. They're just completely blank slates.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, he's got personality, but there's nothing for them.
He's got charisma. I know.
There's nothing for them to chew on.
I know, without any sort of rivalry between them.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to get chippy over.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I want to win. It's a huge opportunity because I get a title shot, but I won't look too far ahead because I got to win this match first. That's basically what they both said.
Right, exactly.
Then we got Valentina Feroz taking on Kaylee Ray. Short match. Kaylee Ray gets the win. She dominates, hits a gory bomb to get the W.
Oh, wow. Hugh Longheavy says, Pat McAfee just confirmed on Twitter, fully vaxxed, very positive, out indefinitely. Ugh.
Oof.
Yep. Yeah. Did you mention the finish of this? Kaylee Ray picked up the gory. Okay. Yeah. Gory bomb there. All right. So backstage, Gigi and Jayne get approached by Mandy Rose, who that really tickled you, didn't it?
Jayne versus Lacey Lane.
She says, Mandy says, if you guys never want to feel this way again, like losers, come with me and don't ever look back. And I'm just thinking, man, Mandy Rose could have been hot shit on Main Raw. Like she was so there. She was so just at the precipice.
Otis feud, yeah.
Right?
The Otis story. Yeah,
the Otis story. Yeah, she feuded with Otis. And then the Sonya Deville match. And they just shipped her over to wherever and they put her in a tag team with Dana Brooke. And then they just had her lay down on the commentary table in NXT.
I know.
It's just always, dude, it's always just we could have nice things in WWE and
don't ever do it.
And they just don't ever do it. It's like you have British Strong Style under contract. Like you can't tell me that Pete Dunne wouldn't be like, oh, wait, you what? If they were like, hey, we're going to just do British Strong Style. Remember that cool video in Progress when they were just a bunch of badasses like they're from Peaky Blinders?
I know.
Do that. Instead, they got him with Ridge and then these two, Lorcan and Birch. Just there's no chemistry there between any of these guys.
I know. My favorite part of this segment was so Mandy Rose makes her pitch, walks off, and Gigi looks at Jason and just goes, all right. She shrugs.
Yeah, right.
There's such enthusiasm.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I guess, It's
like it's a couple L's. All right, fine. After that, we got a Samoa Joe promo. He says at TakeOver, he stood across the ring for the most dominant champ in NXT history. He beat Cross. He stands before us, 3-time champ. Says tonight he's not in the mood for celebration, nor did he dress for it. Being a 3-time champ comes benefit experience, and experience tells him that to be champ is to be a king in the land of savages. In the land of savages, there is no time to celebrate. So he knows today there's more tension in the air. The handshakes were a bit colder. The stares were a bit bolder. And so he's come out to answer one simple question: who's willing to stop staring and come out and step to him? And out comes Peter Dude. He steps to Joe, and he says, "Joe, we stood face to face enough to know that you know the truth. Pete Dunne doesn't care how many times Joe's held that title. Joe's not the baddest man around here." And Dunne tells Joe to tell Regal, his buddy Regal, to make the match.
Yeah,
and warns him not to provoke.
Yeah,
and then we get who?
Yeah. Wow. Hey. What the hell was LA Knight wearing, man?
I mean, there was a lot wrong with Kyle O'Reilly's promo. He did hit it right when he called him basically Wish.com Stone Cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's terrible. It's awful. Anyways, so yeah, LA Knight says, yeah, guess what? Hey, it's nighttime. Nighttime every day is the right time. And hey, Joe, it's LA Knight's game at nighttime. And then he tries to get on the apron to get in the ring, and Dunne says, if you come in this, take one more step, I'll snap your fingers. And he says, hey, great. Yeah, I just came to chat. Wow. So Kyle O'Reilly comes out, and he's like holding his ribs because they still hurt.
He's limping out, I know. Gosh,
he's limping out. Looks like he's got explosive diarrhea. He calls LA Knight LaKnight.
He's got nervous diarrhea.
We mentioned this in the pre-show. I don't know why he comes off as so nervous all the time.
It's like I feel like I could hear his voice tremble. which I'm not trying to make fun because I'm sure that's rough to go out there and coming out and doing promos. I'd be a lot worse. I would actually probably poop my pants going out there. I'm not trying to talk crap about Kyle O'Reilly to being nervous out there because it probably is nerve-wracking to do that until you get enough reps and you feel comfortable. I don't know how much promo work he was doing in Ring of Honor. I have no idea.
Okay, but hold on a second. He has been in wrestling for like 15 years now.
I don't really have an answer to that question, man.
And it's like the CWC is like about as indie a crowd as you can get. There's like hardly anybody there. They just sort of sit there, probably just stare at their phones. They're like reading over the NDA that NXT gave them.
I know.
And I know what you're saying. You don't want to be crappy to a person.
No, I'm not trying to crap on him. I'm not trying to be shitty about it. No, not at all. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Totally. Like his number, it's not even that his jokes are lame, which like they kind of are.
Here's the thing. His lame jokes worked in Undisputed Era because they were tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It felt like he's dropped them knowing they were lame, and he's still trying to do the same thing as Cool Kyle, but since he's trying to be Cool Kyle, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Like he calls Samoa Joe, Samoa Joseph. He busted out Peter Dune, which when he said that in Undisputed Era was funny.
It was funny, yeah.
But here it just really wasn't. He called him La Knight instead of L.A. Knight.
Yeah, I know. But it's also yeah, he just sounds nervous out there by himself. Maybe it was just, hey, I've got my best friends with me, and now I don't. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, he does. He comes off. He sounds nervous.
Yeah. So anyways, this is hilarious, though, because he talks some shit about how he should be in the title picture because he won the Undisputed finale. And then Ridge Holland just comes out of nowhere and just punches him right in the ribs.
Well, he was talking about to L.A. Knight. He's like, you're out here trying to swindle your way into a title match. You don't think you have a chance of winning his a Stone Cold knockoff festival competition. Even Joe was like, all right, that like sarcastically, condescendingly, real good joke, Kyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Joe piped it.
I know. And you're just sitting there like, oh, I hope they don't make Kyle do a promo battle with Joe because it'll just be lunch.
Yeah.
He'll just eat them like a steak sandwich. Oh man, it'll be rough.
Really good, actually.
It'll be rough. It does sound really good. So, anyways, Holland attacks Kyle O'Reilly. Dunn sort of makes a move on Joe, but Joe sort of catches him in the act. Ciampa then attacks Dunn. L.A. Knight attacks Joe, but Joe is able to fend him off and sends him going. Yeah, sends him running. So after that, outside in the parking lot, DiBiase is saying goodbye to Grimes because he's now going to leave. And Grimes is like, hey, you know what, man? I appreciate everything you've done, but here, this is yours. You're the real $1 million champion. And so he like walks away, and DiBiase is like, wait, no, Cameron, here. You really do need to have this. And he gives him the title back. But he pulled a big old switcheroo because Grimes, he's like, man, this doesn't feel right. This literally doesn't feel right. This isn't the title. He turns it over and says, WWE replica. He's like, a replica. And DiBiase starts laughing and drives off. And he's like, oh, DiBiase. But it's a bit more, tongue-in-cheek this time.
Yeah.
So it was a cute little moment there.
After that, we had a Kyle O'Reilly interview, or so we thought. It's instantly interrupted by Duke Hudson. Says, hey, look pretty beat up there. Kyle O'Reilly slaps him.
Well, he says, this is the greatest line, though. He says, I saw you out there panhandling for a title shot.
Oh, I missed that bit.
That's when Grimes slapped him. But that's a great line. I saw you out there panhandling for a title shot. Great.
So then Duke takes Kyle O'Reilly's head and slams it into a locker repeatedly, slaps him back, says, don't try that again. He starts to walk off. Kyle O'Reilly goes after him from behind. The rest break it up. And
so, like, is Duke Hudson just going to be eating losses now? Is that his deal?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe for a little bit. Eventually he'll get that dub.
Kyle's totally going to win this match.
You would think so. Yeah. Unless they're just all in on the youth movement now and they're going to job out all the veterans.
Oh, wow. I'd be so into that. I just kind of want chaos now at this point, man. I just want to see NXT burn in front of my eyes. It'd be great. Let's see here. We've got, after that we had, Carmelo Hayes versus Odyssey Jones. This is a really fun match. Didn't go the way we thought it was going to go last week. I thought we fantasy booked it pretty darn good. But in any event, Carmelo Hayes hits his finish on Odyssey Jones. after Odyssey Jones sort of went in for the shoulder that would hit the post with his shoulder. And then Carmelo Hayes drops him with that scissor kick from the top, but then Odyssey Jones kicks out of that thing, and then he hits a splash on him and goes for the pin, but Carmelo is able to get him like a crucifix roll-up thing and got the win that way. Kind of a surprise deal there. And Carmelo Hayes is your breakout tournament winner. Afterwards, Regal says, "Here you go. Here's your contract, son." And then the interviewer says, "So who are you going to face?" And he says, "It's too early, but when I call my shot," he says, "I called my shot, and when I shoot, I don't miss." Yeah.
I kind of felt like the story of this match was Carmelo kind of capitalizing on his experience advantage, but I don't know if I didn't really feel like that was really touched on too much. I mean, he kind of mentioned that he'd been doing this for a while and working hard. Carmelo had in his promo.
Yeah.
But I felt like if that was kind of one thing that they focused on to build to this match, Carmelo Hayes, I'm not the underdog. I may not, be a household name yet, but I have the experience advantage versus Odyssey Jones. Maybe then there was more of a story to roll with during.
Well, he caught wind of, the winds of change, and was like, they're like, "Hey, you have independent wrestling experience, right?" No, I come from.
Never wrestled before.
I come from the N1 league. I remember Skip to My Lou. That's me. They're like, "No, that's not right." Yeah.
Yeah. So then we had they don't have a name as far as I know, right? Pete Dunne's faction.
No, it's just
Holland's faction, whatever the name is. I don't know.
Dudes thrown together. There's one American guy, 3 British guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so Dunne says doesn't care who tries to stake their claim for the title shot against Joe. Again, he says every time he's been face to face with Joe, he's seen the look in Joe's eyes. Joe knows how that is. Bruiserweight, NXT champ. So Danny Burch says, "I was out for 5 months. I was forgotten about. But tonight that all changed." Oney says they never lost the tag title, so they are the rightful champions. And then Ridge Holland tells Ciampa that he's going to end up just like Thatcher on the shelf. They started it, and they'll finish it.
It should be called the Universe Mode. They just seem like they're just thrown together as a bunch of guys. I don't know. Let's see if Chad has any other good names. The Boys. The Boys. Strong World Style. Oh, here we go. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. Brian Zane, according to Concert Crap, Zane called Pete Dunne faction Pat's Pack. When Pat McAfee was in it.
Oh, wow.
Pat's Pack. What do we used to call them? The Pat McAfee group?
I think so, yeah.
It's the Pat McAfee group. Minus Pat McAfee. Yeah, it's just they're just thrown together, man. After that, we had, this was great. This was my highlight of the night. So we had a Tien Shaw Boa video package followed by Boa versus whoever the dude is, Zion Quinn, who looks like a badass.
Daniel Vidot, I think.
Okay. I've heard that
name.
On
Twitter. Yeah.
Okay. Looks like a total badass, right?
Yeah.
So like it's him versus Boa. Boa's really taking it to him. And then, when Boa's ready to finish stuff, of course, he turns over to Mei Ying and he's like, "Do I have your permission to finish this match?" And she's like, "You got it, Skipper." And so he turns back around and Zion Quinn hits his like a forearm as like a finisher.
It's like a flying forearm, yeah.
And then gets the pin on Boa. And then
pretty surprising.
Quinn gets out of the ring and he starts walking up and he sees Mei Ying goes, and he goes, "No." And then he turns back around and goes over the barricade. He's like, "I'm going this way."
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I
don't know what that leads for Boa, but it's interesting.
Because Boa looks like a badass, right? He looks like a badass. Yeah. But this other dude looked like Jason Momoa. Like he looks like a cool dude, right?
Yeah.
He looks like a really good looking creator wrestler. So yeah, they had a flying forearm for a
finish.
I'm like, I'm about that. I like that.
After that, we had John in Regal's office, and John was like, "Hey, we consider you an extended member of the family, so I'm going to ask you for one little favor. You got to cancel the wedding." And Regal's like, "No, their relationship started here. They might as well get married here. It'll make for some good TV." And Gargano's like, "No, bad TV, not good TV.
Good TV."
So they're bickering back and forth. LA Knight, storms in. He's complaining about Joe, and Gargano's like, "Get out of here. We're talking." And Regal just kicks them both out. slams the door in their faces and calls them buffoons.
The entire time, LA Knight looked like he was on the verge of laughing. It was pretty funny. And then we had our main event. It was Hit Row versus Legado del Fantasma in 6-man action. And yeah, look, this was really, really fun stuff. All these guys are great. They do really cool shit. Towards the finish, Santos kicks out of a 450 from Swerve. Santos gets out of the ring. B-Fab attacks Santos, sends him into the post, and then Elektra Lopez shows up, and B-Fab's like, who are you and why are you out here? And then Elektra Lopez gets a pipe out, just murders B-Fab in the midsection with it, and then throws it to Swerve, who turns around with it, and the ref was like, whoa, wait a second, you can't use that. And he's like, yeah, I know, she just threw it at me. And then Santos uses that distraction for the roll-up win.
Yeah.
So that was good stuff. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really fun match. You want to answer some questions? Yeah.
Yeah, let's answer some questions. Yeah. Let me reload this because I know I put up a question thread. I did a face app of Samoa Joe's head.
There we go. Code Diesel with the sub for 5 months. Thank you, Code Diesel.
Let's see here. David Matushek has a great question, given our conversation at the head of the show. Do you fear that any Vinceisms could show up on NXT in the near future? I feel like Vince is probably going to remain hands off the way he remained hands off before, in that Paul Levesque has, Triple H has the directive, big dudes, and they're going to go from there. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think we've seen a little bit of more main roster inspired stories in NXT over the last, year or so. 2 years ago, they would have had this wedding thing going on in NXT. It wouldn't have happened, They've been a little more fun with their creative. And, in some instances, it's hard to not say, well, maybe this is a little bit inspired by main roster, but we don't know for certainty. So, like I said, we've seen some instances where they're relaxing on, the idea that basically every character is a badass who likes to fight. And with that, I think comes a little bit, some stories that seem a little bit like they could have fit on the main roster.
Since, you're right, dude. Since they landed on USA, they've been doing that. Did they go 2 hours? They went 2 hours with the USA thing, right?
Yeah.
That coincided with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we've seen a little bit of a looser main roster feel in the years since it's been on USA. But it seems less, I'll put it this way. It seems less like it's it could totally be at Vince's whims, but like, for example, on Raw and SmackDown, it is totally at Vince's whims. It's championship contender phase, that kind of stuff, where it's obvious that his footprint is just all over the product. NXT, I feel like in broad strokes, there are some Vinceisms, but it's less of a week to week, hey, do this weird shit now kind of thing, I guess is my point. Yeah.
Techno Bacon, you open a wrestling themed cocktail bar. Who is your signature cocktail named after and what's in it? It'd be the cocktail of Jericho. So what he used to say? Mm-hmm. Drink it in.
Drink it in. That's good. Yeah.
It'd be vodka. It'd be a cup of vodka. Because I think that's his beverage of choice. It's vodka.
Okay.
You might say bubbly, but I think he likes his vodka.
Yeah.
I think one time on Talking to Jericho, he was pouring himself. Oh no, it was on Stone Cold. He's poured himself a cup of Grey Goose, I believe.
You want some Grey Goose?
Some sort of vodka.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I don't know. I'm gonna go with what was Raquel Gonzalez's finisher called? I don't want to get it wrong because I know I'm gonna curse in Spanish if I do. The Chingona bomb, but it's gonna be like tequila or something. Some sort of tequila. Yeah. It's like a Jaeger bomb, but tequila instead.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Joe, I'm with you, Joe. I can't. Vodka kills me. Vodka is the very first thing I ever got drunk off of.
Oh, really?
And it made me so sick. And ever since then, I've been like, I'm not a fan of vodka. Oh, that's good. Jinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
That's Jonah. Jonah's done a good job.
That's good. That's good.
Nakamura.
good.
Oh man, that's good.
White Brownie with Raquel already getting two new challengers. Do you see either Frankie or Kaylee Ray taking the title off her, or do you think it'll be someone else? There's a better chance Kaylee Ray has of taking the title off her than Frankie Monet. I'd be interested to see if they've introduced Kaylee Ray. They take their time. What do you got now?
JTV said Roman Reigns.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's funny. Roman Reigns.
That's good.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Or you can have the Torpedo Moscow Mule.
Oh, that's good. I like that. That's good. Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. It's hard to top that though.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. I think Kaylee Ray has like a chance. I think because Raquel Gonzalez, it'd be kind of shocking if she didn't go up with the draft. Like I think Raquel's gonna go up with the draft. They're gonna make her into Dakota tag team.
Yeah, I know. No reference whatsoever to their feud.
Correct.
Hurricane, you pitch a cop movie. Who would be your two NXT odd couple partners? So a NXT buddy cop movie.
It's gonna be an NXT buddy cop movie.
It's gonna be Dexter Loomis.
That's good.
He'll be and
I mean, to be honest with you, like the entirety
Cameron
of that,
Grimes.
The entirety of that Grimes LA Knight feud, like LA Knight feels like a cop from 1995 in a movie. Yeah. And Grimes is his partner from like, where is he from? I don't even know where he's from. Like Kentucky.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay. And then DiBiase is their like captain. Chief. Yeah, the chief or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that just that would work. That would totally work. Oh, that's good. Maggie has it. Bivens and Loomis.
Oh, that'd be good.
That's a good one. I like that.
Ooh, Bivens and Walter.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Die Hard Homer with the sub for 23 months. That's amazing. Die Hard Homer asked, with everything that has happened, would Asuka be a shocking release at this point? How can they not have anything for her? I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked.
I agree. Yeah, I really hope that Asuka gets a fairly dramatic rebrand. You know, like I think she's great, but like it's obvious they had no idea what to do with her. Yeah. And if you give her some sort of really cool rebrand, you know, like Asuka's like best moment on main roster, I think, is when they introduced the Mist, because it was like, oh crap, she's dangerous again. You know?
Yeah.
Like cool. Maggie says, bring out Kana. That's what I want to see.
That'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
Let's see here. What? Anthony R says, what should be the reward for the return of the missing Austin Theory? Reward.
Well, I guess it depends where he shows up.
A title shot. Should be a title. All the rewards should be title shots.
I mean, he'll probably show up and feud with Gargano if he's going back to NXT.
Let's see here. Sent Merck says, Steve Larson, I'm going to keep on asking you this till I get an answer. He said, where can I send or post the Steve versus Larson rap battle so that you guys will see it? Send it to our Twitter.
Yeah.
We'll see
at it. At Real Going In Raw.
At Real Going In Raw. There you go. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.